G'day and welcome back to the 3CIR podcast. I'm Joel Slate-Cairns, former Army professional coffee enthusiast and your friendly neighbourhood stickler for getting to the point.
And I'm Ryan Jury Delaney, equally ex-military, slightly less stickler, slightly more hugger. If you're new here, this show is where we take the heavy stuff about career transitions, leadership, and lifelong learning and turn it into something you can actually use before you hit the next set of traffic lights.
Exactly. Quick pulse check though, because this is 3CIR. We're founded by ADF Army veterans and everything we do hangs off 5 big ideas: courage, commitment, camaraderie, integrity, and respect. Not poster words. Actual operating instructions.
Yeah, it's the DNA. We built 3CIR to help our people, veterans, emergency services, and anyone ready for the next chapter, translate the skills they already have into qualifications that open doors. If you want career momentum without starting from zero, you've found your team.
Which brings us to today's theme: Defense RPL, the cost-effective secret to jumpstarting your career after service. If you've heard those 3 letters floating around and thought, what's the big deal? Stick with us. We're about to unpack why RPL is the shortest distance between where you are and where you want to go.
And later in the episode, we'll get into the exact nuts and bolts of how an assessment works, how long it takes, what evidence lands you the best outcome, and the discounts people don't know they can get.
Spoiler, if you've worn a uniform, there's a big one. But start at the start. What actually is RPL? Recognition of prior learning is the formal process in the Australian vet system that says, hey, what you can do matters as much as where you learned it.
It's not a vibe check. It's regulated by ASQA, delivered by registered training organisations, and mapped to the Australian qualifications framework. Translation, it's legit, nationally recognised, and employers can't tell from the certificate whether you got it through study or RPL because, by design, it's the same standard.
Right, and the power move for veterans is that the ADF trains hard. A lot of your courses and deployments exceed civilian equivalents in depth and pressure. RPL acknowledges that without making you sit through a class, you could probably teach.
If you've got years of operational planning, logistics runs that would make a supply chain manager sweat, or you've spent nights stitching together teams under pressure and still hit the objective, that's gold in civilian language. The trick is translating it, which is where good RPL comes in.
Before we open up the how, let's answer the why. Why choose RPL for your military transition? I'll go first with the obvious. It's cost effective. You don't pay to relearn what you already know. You invest in proving it.
And it's faster. Accelerated pathways mean you can skip modules you've already mastered. I've seen people knock off a full qualification in months, not years, sometimes half the time or less. That kind of pace matters if you've got a family, a mortgage, or a new business to launch.
Confidence too. There's something about seeing your service show up as a nationally recognised qualification that takes the edge off the imposter syndrome. You walk into interviews with receipts.
On the employer side, formal quals bridge perception gaps. Civvies hear section commander and they're impressed. They hear diploma of leadership and management, and now HR has a box they can tick. Same skill set, less confusion.
Hit pause there because I can hear someone in the car going, okay, I'm in. What does the process look like? The assessment isn't an exam, it's a structured conversation with evidence. Think of it like a skills audit that maps your experience to competency standards.
Competency is the key word. We're not testing how you learned, we're verifying what you can do. Assessors, ideally ones who speak defence, review your training records, postings, course reports, deployment summaries. Then they talk with you. Interviews, practical demos, simulations if needed. And yes, digital portfolios count. Video evidence is a thing now.
The benchmark is the AQF standards for that qualification. You either meet the unit outcomes or you've got a gap. If there's a gap, you get feedback and options. Targeted training, maybe a short bridging unit. No mystery, just data.
I'll make it real with a story. A mate of mine was a signals operator, years of comms planning, crypto handling, troubleshooting under pressure. Through RPL, he pulled a certificate IV in information technology and stacked micro-credentials in cyber. Didn't start from scratch, just aligned what he'd already nailed.
I had a logistics warrant officer come through who walked out with supply chain and project management quals. We built the portfolio around resource allocation, fleet management, and risk mitigation. You've done the work. The RPL makes it speak civvies.
Which skills Transfer best. Short answer, more than you think. Leadership maps cleanly to management and business. Ops planning converts to project management. Logistics is supply chain. MPs and security roles align with risk, security ops, and even work health and safety.
Don't forget training and development. If you've led courses, mentored juniors, or built SOPs, that leans into vocational education and training qualifications. And admin ninjas, business administration, HR, government services, it's all there.
Let's talk benefits beyond the piece of paper. 1, time. Traditional study can take years. With RPL, you compress that timeline and get to work. 2, money. You avoid duplicate training costs and use your budget for targeted upskilling that actually moves the needle.
3, momentum. A qualification can be the key that unlocks professional registration, tender requirements, or internal promotion pathways. You don't want to be 6 months behind because you're redoing modules you mastered in Kapuka era.
And 4, well-being. Sounds fluffy, but it's not. The act of seeing your service validated lands hard. I've watched that spark return when someone realizes their experience is still currency out here.
All right, mechanics time. How does an RPL assessment actually run at a place like 3CIR? Step 1, you do a free RPL assessment. It's basically a discovery pass. You tell us your background, we tell you which quals your experience might match and how strong your evidence looks.
Then we help you gather the proof. Training certificates, statements of attainment, performance appraisals, role descriptions, mission reports. Add narratives, brief stories that explain what you did, why it mattered, and what changed because you did it.
Quantify where you can. Not just led a team, but led 12 personnel across 3 locations, delivered a 6-week operation with 0 incidents, under budget by 8%. That language plays in the civilian arena.
References are powerful too. A line from a platoon commander, a warrant, a senior NCO who can vouch for your competence. It's not about who shouts the loudest, it's about who can point to outcomes you owned.
Assessors then line up your portfolio against AQF units. Sometimes they'll run a professional conversation to unpack details, sometimes a practical demo or a simulation if a unit calls for it. It's collaborative. The goal is to recognise everything you've genuinely got.
And for serving members, the process flexes to your schedule, nights, weekends, digital submissions. We've done video walkthroughs of processes when people couldn't be physically present. Your ops tempo shouldn't be the reason your career stalls.
Let's loop in the bigger system. RPL exists because the vet world recognises that learning happens everywhere. ASQA keeps everyone honest. RTOs like 3CIR deliver assessments within that framework. Employers respect it because the standard's the same.
Now, special shout to our emergency services listeners, police, fire, AMBOs, SES. Your experience often complements defence beautifully. Pair a military logistics background with paramedic field ops and you've got a serious WHS skill set. Stack MP time with state policing and hello, security risk leadership.
Culture matters too. The transition isn't just a job change, it's a shift in environment and tempo. That's why we put support around the process. You're not filling out forms alone. You're working with assessors who've been where you've been.
And yes, mental health and well-being matters during all this. Career change stirs up identity stuff. Having a team that gets it, veteran assessors, flexible timelines, a human on the other end of the call makes a world of difference.
Tactical tip time. If you're listening and want to set yourself up for a strong outcome, start a folder tonight. Dump everything in it: course reports, certificates, rosters you built, risk assessments you wrote, training plans, commendations, postings, performance reports.
Then write 3 short stories using a simple pattern. Situation, task, action, result. Keep them tight. Example: situation, supply delays threatened a field exercise. Task, maintain readiness with limited stock. Action, renegotiated vendor timelines, reallocated fleet, built a priority matrix. Result, exercise delivered on time, reduced wastage by 12%. That's the kind of narrative that maps to competencies.
Research your target qualifications on training.gov.au. Read the units and ask, do I have clear evidence for this? If you see a gap, don't panic, note it. Sometimes one practical demo or a short bridging unit closes it cleanly.
Pro move is stacking. If your experience spreads across leadership, projects, and logistics, you might knock over multiple qualifications with shared evidence. It's efficient and it builds a stronger professional profile.
All right, let's shoot through a few quick questions we get every week. How long does the assessment take? Typical range is 4 to 12 weeks depending on how complex the qualification is and how ready your evidence is. Come to us organized and it goes faster.
Can you do multiple qualifications at once? Yep, if your experience supports it. Many people walk out with a leadership diploma and a project management qual or logistics plus WHS. The key is honest mapping.
What evidence counts? Training records, role descriptions, performance appraisals, deployment briefs, project docs, SOPs you wrote or enforced, risk registers, and references. Video or photos of you demonstrating a process can help for practical units.
What if I don't get it first time? Not failure. It just means there's a competency gap. You'll get detailed feedback and a route to fix it, whether that's targeted training, a short course, or more evidence.
Are RPL qualifications recognized by employers? Yes. The piece of paper looks the same because it is the same qualification under the AQF. No asterisks, no footnotes.
How much does it cost? It varies by level and scope, but it's usually a fraction of traditional study because you're not paying for months of classes. And here's the kicker. If you're current or former ADF or emergency services, 3CIR gives you a 25% discount on RPL assessments and training. It's our way of backing your service with something tangible.
To claim it, you just provide evidence of service, discharge certificate, service record, current ID if you're serving. Emergency services folks, employment verification or your registration does the trick.
And once you're enrolled, you don't get left in the dark. We've got veteran assessors, flexible schedules, and proper student support. The mission is your success, not ticking a compliance box.
Let's circle back to the kinds of roles RPL can launch you into. If you've been in combat service support and you lit up as the person who kept the machine humming, think supply chain coordinator, logistics analyst, operations manager. If you ran troop-level projects, project coordinator into project manager is a natural climb.
If you wore an MP badge or worked security, risk and security management is wide open, corporate security, government protective security, even event risk planning. Tuck in a WHS qualification if you've been the guy or gal keeping people safe and systems compliant.
Training and assessment is a sleeper hit. If you've instructed, rangers, driving, comms, there's a straight line to vocational training roles, corporate L and D, or compliance training. That's impact worker.
For those curious about building out their knowledge after RPL, we've lined up some helpful video resources on leadership, HR, WHS, security operations, business admin, marketing and communications, government services, and project management. Think of them as primers or refreshers you can watch with a coffee. You can find those through our site.
Here's a lens I use with clients. RPL does two big jobs. One, it validates your past, says you weren't just busy, you were building capability. Two, it accelerates your future, sets you on a path with recognized milestones. That shift can change how you negotiate pay, how you apply for roles, and honestly, how you see yourself as.
There's a human side, right? You step out of the gate and suddenly it's on you to translate your life. RPL is like getting a translator plus a map and a team that says, mate, breathe, you've got this.
If you're wondering if your specific role qualifies, the answer is almost always yes. Leadership roles, technical specializations, trainers, planners, logisticians, administrators, you name it. The key is matching your tasks and outcomes to civilian language and standards. That's our wheelhouse.
Timeline-wise, set your expectations. If you can commit a couple of focused hours a week to getting your evidence in, you can absolutely knock this over in a few months. Faster if you're hyper-organized, slower if you're juggling ops or kids, or both, which is fair. We work to your rhythm.
Want to maximize your outcome? Here's a short checklist. 1. Centralize your documentation. 2. Write those situation, task, action, result snapshots. 3. Line them against target qualification units. 4. Gather references. 5. Book time with an assessor who speaks defense so you're not translating rank structures all day.
And ask questions. Don't be shy about saying, does my experience with Convoy risk plans cover this risk management unit? Or I delivered a comms upgrade across 3 bases. Does that map to project integration? You'll be surprised how often the answer is yep, and here's how. Ooh.
A quick word for those still serving. You can start RPL now. We're set up for digital interactions, time zone weirdness, and the occasional last-minute duty that nukes your calendar. No dramas.
And for families listening, Nudge your person. You know what they bring to the table. Sometimes it takes someone at home saying, hey, your experience matters. Go get it recognized. That support is huge.
Strategic mindset to wrap this section. RPL is not the end, it's a launch pad. Use it to pivot, to promote, or to punch into a new industry. Then layer targeted training where it actually amplifies your trajectory. No wasted steps.
I like to think of it as trimming the fat from your career plan. Cut the redundancy, keep the muscle.
Before we close, 2 more things. 1, if you've got both military and emergency services experience, tell us everything. The combo often unlocks broader pathways and higher level quals. 2, don't self-censor. I've seen people downplay deployments or training because it felt normal at the time. Normal to you isn't normal to everyone else.
That's bang on. What felt like Tuesday to you, managing a crisis, coordinating assets across state lines, briefing leadership under pressure, might be the exact scenario that nails a competency.
Alright, action items. If today lit a spark, head to 3CIR online and start your free RPL assessment. It costs you nothing to find out where you stand and what qualifications fit your story. If you're ADF or emergency services, bring that service evidence and grab your 25% discount.
And dig through the tools while you're there. The explainer on what RPL is, guidance on veteran qualifications, and those video primers are designed to keep things simple and get you moving. If you want a human chat, book a call. We'll meet you where you are.
We're going to keep this conversation rolling next episode with a deep dive into defense recognition of prior learning specifically for ADF personnel, how to convert service skills into nationally recognized qualifications that unlock real civilian opportunities. We'll bring case studies, answer live listener questions, and map roles to quals on the fly.
It's going to be punchy and practical. So line up your questions, tell a mate who needs to hear it, and come back ready to build momentum.
This is Joel Slate-Cairns reminding you that you don't have to start from scratch. You just have to start.
And I'm Ryan Jury Delaney, proud of you for even considering the next step. We'll see you soon. Keep your head up and your plan tight.